Speak Cambodian, Thailand, we still plan.
I have to call him with English.
We still have 15 minutes also waiting for Prof. Lee to come.
And that.
Yeah.
Then maybe we can start to sing a song.
Hip hop.
So yeah, just like a warm-up guide. So today session, we'll finish at 3:30. We clear the room and then we have our dinner and cocktails later on. I think a little bit of booze. We have the panel on AI led by me shortly. And then thereafter, we have kind of a high-level keynote speech once again from Ambassador Lee. I've given him more time, so he's busy working on his speech there. But I thought what he can say would be inspirational for us, so that we can remain the remaining 45 minutes to kind of just brainstorm. Partly as people in the room, but partly also a little bit like GDC Asia. There are 3 questions that are put up on the slide. And then using, Ambassador Lee's input, the framing, let's see, what kind of ideas we can come up. Essentially it's about, okay, it's backsliding, but still there's a buoyancy of people interested in the issue, resources are small, how do we maximize this new environment? Essentially, that's what it's about. Yeah. So that's the next couple of hours that is fine. Yeah. Otherwise, you can ask me anything. I got 10 minutes, I can. So this, yeah, jokes are not very good. But this 10 minutes, you can ask James anything. Seems like you might have a question.
And I get problems.
I'm from Singapore. I'm from Singapore, third generation of Indian descent. I studied English school. Then second language was Bahasa. Only Bahasa Melayu is the same language as Malaysia, but fairly close, I think, to Indonesia. I speak Mandarin, not formally learned. Street language. And then I speak Hokkien as well. A little bit Japanese, a little bit Thai. And when I have a few drinks, I can speak. I speak some rubbish. That's the job. Hey, not bad, I think. Oh. How about you? You.
What is your hobby?
My hobbies. That's a tough one. I think I have best hobbies now. Yeah. Well, start up with the I used to play the guitar. I used to play the guitar and sing along. So I like singing.
How about you sing? Oh, you can sing well. Yeah. You can sing.
Okay. So I was, and then you know, little hint or secret stuff. I have been friends with Ito for a very long time, both professionally, but also as friends. And one of the things that we do in many of the meetings in the region, right, is we have a sing-along, a karaoke. Yeah. Oh, you have a meeting? Can you play that? Yeah. Thank me, yeah.
They call it music diplomacy. From Japan.
South Korea.
Right.
So it's not only Michael Bublé who does this stuff. Which conference is that from? Oh, from Call, yeah. My fellow criminal is. You be careful of the people from Call, all the things, and very well.
No, that's any reception.
No. He only dances.
So,
Oh.
One more panel. Yeah. Maybe somebody will talk to them. Who's Korean here? Hey. Okay. Korean word can't say it well. Yeah. How do you say cockroach?
바퀴벌레.
Pakebole. But have you heard about the joke? In India, the seniors have scolded the young people as being like not doing well. And this is a story I picked up from Charles yesterday.
No, serious.
it was all I wanted.
Well, Charles, you tell the story then.
Well, he become. That's what's the front, but they all nothing below the radar room. That led to an Indian guy studying in the US, Boston University, to come out with notion saying, I am a cockroach. And that led to the formation of the Cockroach Janata Party in India. And a period of 1 week, they had 22 million members. And they've already started the protests all over India. And for the first time in the last 15 years, the Prime Minister of India, the BJP president, is now very concerned, worried that they are arresting these guys. Yeah.
Right thinking.
Yeah. It's actually a young people's movement. People who have no jobs, people who are unemployed, people who feel cheated, vulnerable, and so on. So they are all now uprising. And of course, the Indian government, the response is, well, the 22 million is broken down, 5 million from Pakistan, 5 million from Nepal, 5 million from here, and so on, to defray the thing. But actually, it's all Indian. That's across. So everybody now walks around with a cockroach face. Cockroach has become very normal now. It's like the mouse, right? Once upon a time, mouse, you run away, right? But today, mouse is part of your life. So like that, cockroach has become part of your life. Because the cockroach, you cannot kill the cockroach because it's back again and again and again. So the guy said, the youths are saying, you can't kill us because we'll produce and reproduce and produce and so on. So it's interesting. I'll leave it to the
Yeah. So how would we say Korean cockroach party?
바퀴벌레.
정답.
정답 맞아.
So we could be starting a movement. So cockroach resilience. Okay, I hope you enjoyed the warm up. So it's my pleasure now to start the second session of the GDC Asia. Thank you for being here. Thank you for yesterday's session. I was with you in session 1. Fortunately, I couldn't join you in session 2. There were 2 things I was attending to. I just want to share what I was up to when I was not with you. First was a meeting hosted by KDF. They convened a few of their regular friends to talk about if they could think about starting a network. It's just a thought process. So we were together for about an hour and a bit. So the general consensus in the room was, yes, we are happy to be on board. And then secondly, the other question they asked was, what was the value proposition? There were many ideas that came up during the discussion. But one interesting thing that stuck with me was the fact that, this is a memorial museum on democracy. And if there's one thing they can share, and they've done it so well, is the idea of memorialization to other parts of the region, or maybe even beyond, right? The skills in archiving, the skills in storytelling, whether it's a permanent type of memorial or even a kind of a pop-up. So this was one of the value propositions that was discussed. After the meeting, they would have to go back to talk to their own processes. There's always an issue of budget and whether KDF itself has the mandate to internationalize. But those are, discussions. Thereafter, KDF also brought other partners from the region. So they recorded a democracy podcast. There were representatives from Malaysia. I represented Singapore region, and then Thailand, and Indonesia. And we spoke a little bit about the museum and what it meant to all of us. And also we gave a little bit of update on the democratic developments and challenges in each of the countries. But they weren't very different from what we had discussed together as well. That podcast goes up tonight at 10. For those of us in the list, we'll send you the link. So in between your last soju tonight, feel free to tune in on that program. So that was what was happening on the other side of the and if you were wondering where I was, that's what I was up to. I didn't have any soju last night because it's a working day today. And then of course, Professor Lee also hosted a few of us for dinner and discussion. And we met some of our colleagues and also sitting MP as well. That was very nice. And we were introduced to a local food. What was it, Prof? The black bean, the black bean dish. Tatang man. Yeah. But I had something else. What did I have?
Example.
I had champon. Yeah, which is a spicy. Just so you know, we're all transparent here. Yeah. So with that opening remarks, it's my pleasure once again to invite Professor Lee up. Please come over, and our panelists, please, Prof, you can sit there or there.
Yeah,
okay.
there, it's there.
Yeah, no, you know who she? Oh, you look like Iron Man. Just one boot on, yeah. So again, the Prof has been with us yesterday, but I'll just say another line or two about her. Very active person. But a couple of other things you don't know about her, so I'll just add. One, she is a sitting senior researcher at the East Asian Institute. They were also the host and partner during the Global Democracy Summit a couple of years ago. So we also met her there and thanked her for her hospitality there. She's already the co-representative of IPDF, but she's also the co-founder of the Asian Democracy Research Network. Prof, can you just say a few things about those things? Well, because you did introduce those elements. Then without further ado, I hand the panel to you.
Can I have the mic?
Yes.
Hi, good afternoon. I think we met already, many of you, yesterday. And then my name is Jolie, and James just warmed up this kind of town hall meeting. Let's just stay there, it's better, very formal, right? And asked me to explain what I'm doing. And one of the, I'm retired from university, so I have more time to work on the democracy support. That's why I created Inter-Pacific Forum last year. And then I've been leading the Asia Democracy Research Network, ADRN, over the last 12 years, actually. ADRN and ADN both are created at the sideline of the Community of Democracy at Ulaanbaatar meeting in 2013. The ADN is a coalition of activists and practitioners, and ADRN is the network of think tanks and also Universe Center working on democracy. So we have 23 members, these institution-based members from 14 countries. And our website, the www.adrnresearch.org, is good to follow up more the scholarly analysis of what's going on, state of democracy, and also many things you should know. Yeah, so that's it. But let me go back to this session. Our panel is titled Navigating Democratic Transitions in the Age of AI. I guess I don't need to say about the opportunities and threats in the era of AI. And we all know the benefit of AI, like the public health and education, you name it, many things. Even food production and so forth, and climate change prediction and so forth. But however, we are equally very much aware of threats from AI, right? The cyber war and disinformation, and also kind of drying up the direct democracy because of this distortion of the citizens' thinking, many things. So there has been a kind of efforts to govern the AI, and you name it, there are many things, starting from UN to the small regional response. I will say I can, but if you look at our four panelists here, we have two from, I will say, sorry to say, Great Britain, middle power. In terms of AI, I say the power. Many European countries are, from the perspective of AI, they are middle power. And great power, again, USA and China, because of their very strong AI technological foundational skills. And South Korea and Philippines are middle powers. So we have a great four panelists. And then especially the Britain, in November 2023, they created the Black Sea Declaration. Again, they emphasize human-centered, trustworthy, and responsible AI, so they can benefit the human beings, right? And then South Korea hosted the AI Safety Summit following UK in year 2024. And then I guess France, and this year was India, right? So the number of this AI Safety Summit has increased, starting from 28, but now more than 50, right? And India in particular is trying to unite global South to raise their voices in the AI governance. So this is a very interesting era, and Korea is very active. I'm sure Professor Im is going to say a lot about South Korean case, because South Korea is, promoting the idea of a global, the AI alliance for all, AI for all, and they also is trying to create the global AI hub. So as a kind of UN entity, and I heard from one of the MP that they can open up next year. So that will be linked to many UN agencies, to support their AI analysis and project and of course. And so I don't want to repeat the detailed bio, but just let me introduce Dr. Chandoran Pa, President of Cambodian Institute for Democracy. So he's from Phnom Penh, Cambodia. Vietnam. And then we have Mr. Salito Alegu, an executive director of Health, originally from the Philippines. And we have a Professor Sanat Lee from University of Seoul. And he's also a member of IPDF. And also he's serving the South Korea's national AI strategy, something, right? In the democracy division. So he knows what's going on inside the Korean government. And last but not least, we have Miss Hannah Bowley from Senior Program Manager from the Westminster Foundation for Democracy, WFD, of the United Kingdom. So without further ado, let me invite from Dr. Pa, according to the order of the program. So you can say about 7 minutes. And then I'd like to invite this very active audience to raise your questions. So, Dr. Pa?
First of all, thank you for the my name is Chandran, that's called Chandran. I'm the president of the Cambodian Institute for Democracy. Now an AI trained expert, but as an AI user, as a civic educator, at CID, first of all, I would like to share because the Cambodian Institute for Democracy is an independent civic think tank. So it's the NGO in Cambodia. We actively run civic education. We also have our democracy initiative that we run digital literacy and AI literacy with both young Cambodia and also the elderly people. Like then I said yesterday, we try to be inclusive, not really work with inclusive with people, everyone, and I became a community level. We also have a research program and policy dialogue, including organizing online, both online and on-site dialogue, ranging from social, political, and digital issue in happening in Cambodia. I am perhaps one of the first group of Cambodian that initiated the digital literacy project in Cambodia in 2016. At the time when I returned to Cambodia, I found the Cambodian Facebook. Many Cambodian are on Facebook, but it looks so messy. So I wrote a small booklet on how to use social media responsibly and the textbook also have been used by many organizations, including the Ministry of Education. So for me, I see AI. It is obvious that AI is with us, whether we like it or not. But like other previous fast developed technology, AI is also a double-edged sword that we can use to serve our purpose for the common good. It also can be a tool that can be weaponized to suppress people, especially for those who are working to promote, to advance democracy and human rights. So the thing is depend on how how we use it and who control it. Especially AI should not be only governed by the minority, small people, the private company and government. The civil society and the general public have to have voices in AI governance. Like in Cambodia, the Cambodian government are working on the AI national AI strategy. At first, the civil society was not involved, so there is a group of NGO in Cambodia called Digital Right Working Group, which is around 20 NGO. And we wrote a letter to the Ministry of Telecom and Post, who in charge of developing the draft of the national AI strategy. And later we also received the invitation to join and provide feedback and comment on the draft for now. I think it's the third. So let's stop with that.
That's great. So.
It takes a while to.
Okay.
No, you can carry it on. It takes a while.
It's great that you also participated in the drafting Cambodia's AI law and
Yes.
strategy.
National strategy.
Nations. That's great. And our second speaker, Senator.
Thank you, Dr. Lee. So I am Celito Arlegue. You can just call me Lito. I'm the Executive Director of the Council of Asian Liberals and Democrats, or CALD. It's a network of political parties in Southeast and East Asia. Currently, we have 10 member parties from the sub-regions. We used to have a member from Korea, but now we don't have any institutional links, and we hope that can be addressed soon. So as a network, we concentrate on strengthening political parties because we believe that these institutions play an important role in the transition and consolidation of democracy. Even though many analysts now say that we are in the age of post-party politics, they even call it the post-ideological era, where political parties are no longer important. And I think in the conversations that we had yesterday, I think it was Charles who argued that many of the young people now, the Gen Z, are non-ideological, non-partisan. So there's a lot of skepticism among this segment of the population, but we still believe in the network that political parties play a role in democracy. So the topic of today's panel is about AI and its role in democracy. And interestingly, last week, there was an opinion piece published in the New York Times by US Senator Bernie Sanders, and he argued that AI will most certainly be the most transformational technology in the history of the world. So according to him, the question is no longer whether AI can change the world, because it can and it will. The question is whether we will be better because of it. So it is in this light that the goal of this panel to delve deeper into the challenges of AI to democracy really becomes important. So will our democracy be better because of AI? Or will AI further deepen the democratic recession that we are already experiencing? So I just want to share that relatedly, my organization came up with 2 publications. So in 2024, we came up with this policy paper, AI in Elections in East and Southeast Asia. And in this particular publication, we just somehow outlined how AI will impact on elections and political parties. and what can be done about it. And then, inspired by this publication in our General Assembly last year, we chose as the theme AI, democracy, and inequality. And it is for that reason that in our annual report, which contains many of the speeches from that assembly, we chose the title Democratic Resilience in the Age of AI. So the two things that I want to share this afternoon will be drawn from these two publications. The first thing that I want to share is the challenge that AI poses on democratic processes and institutions. Probably you have heard of the term algocracy, like a government by algorithm. So in September last year, Albania became the first country in the world to make an AI avatar, Diela, a minister in charge of making decisions regarding which private suppliers Albania will choose. And since then, it has become very controversial. But at the same time, since Albania is facing rampant corruption, they think that by having AI as the decision maker on the contracts by the government, the unbiased, the competent, and the algorithmic processes involved in decision making would somehow result in good decisions that would prevent corruption from happening. So the problem with this is while algorithms can optimize efficiency, they cannot decide about competing values. And I think that's the very heart of the democratic process. So in a democracy, democratic actors can question government in its decision making, right? In an algocracy, these processes and systems will be relegated to an opaque black box, which cannot be scrutinized legally or by the general public. So in a democracy, we place too much emphasis on processes. And I think these are important. I mean, we should not only concentrate on the outcome. The processes in a democracy, I think, is the very heart and soul of democracy. And AI can threaten them because we're emphasizing on the outcome, on the output. The second thing that I want to emphasize would be the impact of AI on social trust. So it's interesting that between March and August last year, there were 3 rounds of surveys done by the Collective Intelligence Project. And in these surveys, it consistently found out that people believe in AI chatbots could make better decisions on their behalf compared to their elected representatives. So I think this is quite concerning. I think this trend is as old as politics itself. I mean, when democracy struggles to deliver, people turn to strongmen, authoritarians, and now to algorithms, because we believe that competence somehow can address the chaos of our politics. So if this trend continues, I think this does not bode well for democracy. Democracies cannot operate without social trust. Social trust is an essential glue that holds democratic societies. It fuels civic engagement, political participation, confidence in institutions, and respect for democratic values. So all of these are important bulwark against democratic backsliding. Moreover, we have to remember that AI-powered algorithms are largely built around business models, in which conflict drives revenues, right? And this would most likely be detrimental to public trust or social trust as well. So in conclusion, I believe that AI definitely poses immense challenges to democracy. But since I consider myself a liberal, I also believe in the power of technology to positively transform societies. So we must use AI to reinvigorate democracy, make it more representative, make it more deliberative, and more worthy of public trust. So I just want to cite this example of Taiwan. When Grab, the transport app, arrived in Taiwan, there were so many concerns about it. Like how would it impact on the livelihood of the taxi drivers, among other concerns, the professionalism of the drivers of Grab. So what Taiwan did was that they used an AI chatbot, which somehow facilitated some version of mass deliberation. So the AI did not make decisions, but instead what it did is to map out the landscape of public opinion, surface the proposals that bridge divides, and then the result was a legislation based on collective intelligence. I think that's the direction that we should take as supporters of AI in the age of democracy. So let me just end by quoting from Eric Schmidt, a former chief executive and chairman of Google. And he said, and I quote, "The future of democracy does not require us to reject AI. Quite the opposite. We need AI to make democracy work in the 21st century." Thank you so much.
Thank you, Salvador. That's an excellent point. Because when we usually discuss AI from the perspective of democracy, we tend to focus on two things. How the authoritarian states are using this surveillance purpose, using AI. And also when we are talking about the civil society, we are discussing how the AI is distorting public opinion, so kind of harming the representative democracy. Yeah, so but you are arguing even the good democracies can fall to the dilemma of
Congress.
Yeah, I think this is a good point to move it to South Korea, because South Korea is trying to use a lot of AI assisted social service.
Actually, I had some kind of consideration about the AI democracy in Korea. So I'm very happy to have you can share many thoughts about the AI and democracy with the other Asian countries. Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for having me today. You can see there's some left leg, and actually I asked a lot about the pain in AI, but they give us some kind of advice, but they cannot do anything about my real pain. And this kind of AI also. So AI has kind of the dual-edged sword. Okay, so actually, I mean, when we discuss about the AI and democracy, actually, we usually focus on the very immediate threat, such as the deepfake and the misinformation or fake news. These are the very real threat. Actually, we have a local election a few days ago. Actually, the National Election Committee actually had to take down over 10,000 deepfake material. It's a very critical issue. But this kind of the immediate threat, such as the fake news or the deepfake, is a kind of a tip of the iceberg on in terms of the threat of the democracy. We look deeper. AI is changing the very foundation of how democracy works. I mean, the danger is that AI quietly weaken our epistemic agency. She already mentioned that, which is our ability as a citizen to think independently and judge fact and make our own decisions. The problem is more growing because we are moving past the simple generative AI. Now we are entering the era of the agentic AI. This is an automatic system that can set the goal and make a real world decision without human hand. So today, actually the AI can decide who gets the job, who gets the loan, who gets the receive the welfare service. You know? AI is no longer a tool, but it's becoming the unaccountable ruler. She says we are moving toward the algocracy. It's society governed by algorithm instead of the democratic rule. Actually, the GDC give us some kind of a question to answer this session. So I leave this the argument lead to directly the question one. Question one is what was the deepest threat to democracy? The biggest threat is that the AI take the power away from the people. Right now, the global AI, the development is driven by the tech monopoly and massive capital. We see a strong trend of the regulatory capture. It means that the big tech company use their wealth and their network to shape government policy. Few days ago, actually, the Daily Star is the advisor to the Trump, the President Trump. He actually stopped the administration decree, which was actually supposed to monitor the new AI model because there's a kind of concern about the safety of the new AI model. But he stopped. Actually, a few days ago, actually, President Trump actually signed the degree, but with a very lessen the period of the monitoring, auditing time. But I mean, you can see there's some kind of network between the government and the tech giant. Also, there's a big money going to the election, especially in the United States. The big tech provide a lot of money to pro AI candidate. This is a very dangerous, the threat to the democracy. Also, at the same time, company now, so you have heard about the surveillance pricing? Yes, this is actually when the Google and you try to purchase the airline ticket, they give it the different price, the different rate. So they actually the tracking all your the digital move to maximize their profit. This is what happening in the AI area. And also there is when government adopted this secret algorithm to run the public service, they create the dangerous vacuum of the accountability. If an AI system make a mistake or discriminate against a certain citizen, public officials can say just, it was not my fault, it's just the computer's decision. It happened actually. If you apply for the welfare service, you already have received the previous time, but suddenly the welfare office doesn't provide you because that the AI system denied accessibility to the person, but the public officer cannot explain why. That's and they don't take any responsibility, accountability about this kind of decision. That's the biggest problem of the AI. It's for the vacuum of the accountability, vacuum of the responsibility. Okay? And now I move to the question 4. So we can we use AI to strengthen the democratic rhythm from the below? My answer is yes. But we must reject the both blind optimism as well as the useless pessimism. AI impact depends entirely on how we design our institution. To protect democracy, civil society must claim ownership of AI and use it as a countermeasure technology. Instead of letting algorithm divide into the angry echo chamber, we can build the AI platform for augmented the deliberation. You may have heard about the Thailand case, it's so-called Britain. They made some kind of a deliberation process. Okay. So we can AI can read the thousands of the public comment and find the common ground between conflict one is made to the find some common ground between conflicting group and also bring the voice of the marginalized people into the center of the politics. Furthermore, if the civil society can use large language model to scan massive governmental document and complex law. This has reduced the information gap between the government and the public, helping ordinary people hold the powerful elite accountable. Yeah, okay, then we finish my conclusion. I actually proposed some concrete solution that independent algorithm transparency and accountability committee. This system can use a dual track approach to balance innovation and human rights. In the early R&D period, we should give tech the company flexibility using the regulatory sandbox. However, the moment that AI system is actually deployed into high risk public area, like election, news institution, or welfare, it must face strict, democratic instead. Okay, I finish this day. Thank you very much.
Rather long, but I have to move it to Hannah because we have remarks from three gentlemen from Asia, but now we are going to the Europe and Britain is also very keen about the regulation of our AI, even though it's not part of the EU, but I think I see there's some similarity with the EU regulation. So how might you?
Thank you. Hi everyone, thanks very much for being here. I just wanted to share a little bit about Westminster Foundation for Democracy, the RFD first, as a bit of background. So we are the UK's democracy support organisation. We do have a relationship with the UK government, but we're independent in what we deliver. And we are able to also we work neutrally across the spectrum, often with experience sharing actually, and it's very relevant to this topic. As we said, the UK is not necessarily a global leader in this, but we're interested in those exchanges with countries who are. So at WFD we work with parliaments, political parties, civil society, and around the election cycle. Maybe despite our slightly confusing name having foundation in the title, we're not so much a grant giver, but we are sort of an implementer ourselves. Always working with partners in the context where we're working. So we deliver programs primarily. We also contribute to policy and to research. We have offices around the world, and that's the main reason I'm here, is that we have 10 offices in the Asia Pacific. We have And as I say, we work with local partners on areas of interest, and the sort of information space is hot topic, particularly in
Open's case, Open's in Korea.
we would love to look into that and discuss options for that. Yes, our nearest office is probably Taiwan. And all of our country offices are staffed by nationals of countries, so they're very much the context and thematic experts there. I suppose just a little bit of a disclaimer from me is that I wouldn't say I'm an AI expert, but maybe we all need to be learning how to get there. And WFD does have internal expertise on AI, starting to build that, given that it's so important. So thank you to Asia Centre, Global Democracy Coalition, and KDF for allowing me to share a little bit of that experience today, which hopefully is of interest to others. So I just wanted to present a little bit about AI development, specifically in parliaments or legislative bodies around the world, and particularly in this region. So the main issue that we're seeing or parliaments are seeing is what we're calling the pacing problem. So this issue that the technological change is accelerating, happening very quickly, a large change happening quickly, and the political change is struggling to meet that rate of change. So there's this gap between the technological change and the political change, and that's the pacing issue. And for parliaments and areas where policy is debated and laws are passed, this is a particular concern when we might be seeing governments, we might be seeing executive branches already starting to adopt AI, maybe more quickly, training their staff, but parliaments tend to be sort of maybe left out of some of those discussions. But it's pretty critical because, as Lito was saying, parliaments are where AI policies are being discussed and decided upon. And that's the avenue also for civil society to be able to be involved in how those policies are shaped about AI. So there's an external pacing problem, Parliament struggling to keep up with industry and society. There's also a pacing problem across the branches of government. So Parliament not being able to keep up with government and executive agencies, and an internal pacing problem as well. So Parliament struggling to effectively use the technology in their own operations. So all of that presents power asymmetries. I think the question of power is already coming out in some of the challenges that we're seeing in AI for democracy. That being said, the parliaments are starting to use AI. On the administrative side, some of the sort of opportunities around automating transcription, the efficiency, being able to summarize vast amounts of information more quickly. That's the administrative side, and then also legislatively. So the opportunities about how AI could improve legal consistency checks across laws, retrieving information for members and committees. And I think there is some scope for using it to better improve citizen engagement with policy. But crucially, this is also about the piloting stage, and we're not yet seeing it, the political change as sort of transformational in not keeping pace with the developments on the technological side. So yeah, we've talked a bit about the challenges, particularly for Parliament. So they're both having these technical challenges. Sort of how do we get the infrastructure, the digital infrastructure, our ICT in place that we can physically do this as an institution, but also the other half is the regulatory and ethical challenges. How do parliaments ensure that using AI internally and in policy is compliant with data protection laws, ensuring that there is transparency in the process, and not just the end results as well. I'm sure I'm taking the time, but I just wanted to flag that as part of global regional efforts to look at how we can better work with AI WFD has produced some guidelines for AI in parliaments, which are available on our website, it's open source. And these are designed to be a comprehensive, internationally validated framework. So there were 22 parliamentary experts from around the world who worked on this, 16 countries. And it's supposed to be not prescriptive, so it should be able to be adapted by different parliaments to equip them and presumably others in similar institutions too, with the knowledge and tools needed to navigate the AI landscape. It's available in 10 languages. One of them is Mandarin. It's been launched in Taiwan, which we've already discussed a little bit about Taiwan being one of the leaders in the region on how to use AI. And WFD have been launched the guidelines there around a series of activities with the legislative yuan on smart parliament. So there's more going on there. So yeah, I suppose I just wanted to recognise that it's telling that we're here telling and significant that we're here in Korea. Panelists. Sorry, please don't worry. This happens a lot. But I can wrap up that.
Sure.
Maybe I can ask one short case. In your case in Cambodia, the Senator Marty Sung has mentioned, actually the citizens in your country are not using AI that much. So I'd like to know for which class or how widely the AI has been used, and what's the popular perception toward the AI?
Yeah, there was a survey conducted by the Cambodian government in Scotland about AI readiness in Cambodia. It includes all the ASEAN members as well. And the results show that it's very low. So we are beginning. In Cambodia, now I think it's close to 18 million people, and 15 million are on social media. So Facebook is the main platform. So many Cambodians have true news through social media, not directly from media. Television, now we TV, now we come out made from my observation, there is a benefit and a burden of AI in Cambodia. For example, the government needs to use some public service like the verify use a QR code to verify any legal document. I think it's quite the technology also now just for stimulate and also there are some digital project that the government now working on to provide service to the people. But many Cambodians are not quite capable to make use of technology yet, especially the level of digital literacy there. The 32% of the people have the basic skill, digital skill. So you could see that the technology, AI and other technology, digital technology will be available, but the people don't have the enough capacity to make so.
Okay. As a leader, let me ask you a question. If the South Korean government is saying, oh, we can do AI ODA, what kind of services you like to have from the Korean audience regarding AI?
Well, can I say something that would benefit my organization?
Yeah.
Maybe AI training for political leaders or for members of parties. I think it's
training.
quite important. Because
Training,
yes, because many of our politicians have, I don't think have deep knowledge about how AI works.
I see.
We are end users of AI.
Mhm.
We're not very familiar with the details and how it can be impact. But we need it. I mean, we cannot put the genie again in the bottle, right? I mean, we have to adapt, in our use of AI. So I think that's one thing, a training across political parties and political leaders for the use of AI. And of course, citizen trainings.
Business friend, yeah. Thank you. And, Professor Lee,
Yeah.
and you talked about your policy position,
Mhm.
setting up the citizen kind of committee
Yeah.
to decide.
Mm.
But isn't it too late? Because AI is too fast.
Yeah, well, actually, that's the problem, actually. I mean, actually, I'm working as the member of the subcommittee on AI and democracy under the presidential account on the national AI treaty. This is kind of a pioneering the agency that actually try to control all parts of the governmental activity to increase the AI adoption. So it is kind of the presidential strong will to implement this kind of the council. So actually, I have a very good the chance to how it works in the council. But actually, the council kind of auditing or monitoring institution. Actually, they declare 100 action plan, and each the division of the subcommittee actually monitoring what government doing, what they are preparing, how they're going to implement. That's what they try to give us some the advice, and they actually do auditing and monitoring what they doing. But the AI and democracy, the division subcommittee only started this year, April. That council actually started at the last year. So government actually, the president actually recognized the AI and democracy is a very important issue. But now this is a kind of the rising issue, but that committee doesn't have very many power. Actually, we try to propose this AI accountability and transparency committee next year as an action plan. Yeah, but I don't know they're going to take it or not. But at least it's a kind of very good start.
I wish you all the best. Until Hannah comes back, I'll give her, opportunity to explain what she's researching. And in the meantime, I collect the questions. So why don't I did, okay, like James, you don't decide it by yourself, but can you point out, who are you waiting?
Yeah, the question from online.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so let me just read that out. This question is from Indonesia.
Oh,
Online participant, and the participant is a researcher from the Indonesian Workers Campus or Academy. The question is, her name is Dian. She's asking, could we make algorithms more democratic? I don't know who to.
yeah. Can you make algorithm more democratic? It's very technical issue, but anyone?
Yeah.
Actually, most people think that algorithm is kind of based on the math and science. So it's kind of very neutral. But it is not. Actually, the first problem is the data. The AI study the previous data, and they provide the answer. But the previous data has been corrupted and biased. you already know that the AI answer has been more the bias against the woman and against the minority because the data was has been corrupted. That's the one problem. Another problem is algorithm architecture, IT expert. They are not neutral. I mean, if you raise in the China or you raise in the United States, you have your own value and principle. They have this kind of the value and the principle has been embedded in the AI algorithm architecture. It's not neutral. So we need to the citizen have to look at the whole process of the algorithm. They actually I don't think that there is a 100% neutral algorithm at all. But we try to make a little bit more sensible, equitable, or fair. That's how we can do.
Also, Professor, then we conventionally, human beings can intervene, right?
Yeah, we have to.
Do you have a? This is quickly.
Yeah, I can give you an example of the case of social media Facebook in Cambodia. In Cambodia, the people and the politicians use Facebook as a battlefield to compete for election, also for their business. But the politician, I would like to highlight the case. I completely agree with you. It's depend on the architects of the technology. I put from my observation, I think before Trump point two, I observed that the social media seem to be more transparent, but lately it's out of control. For example, in June 2023, former Prime Minister Facebook page was blocked because of the advocate by civil society, and the overseas board put pressure on the mainland. But surprisingly, during the war between Thailand and Cambodia last year, in July and in December, it was so heartbreaking to see the dehumanized message, video, pictures floating on Facebook and posts. So it means that the company didn't take those contents seriously.
Okay, since Alex back, continue.
Oh, thank you. Sorry, apologies for the dramatic exit. I have regular nosebleeds, so it's very normal for me, but it's a bit dramatic for everyone else. I was pretty much at the end of my presentation anyway. I was just saying, echoing what some panelists yesterday were saying about Korea, Japan, and Taiwan, sort of potentially being able to be stand up as sort of regional leaders on democracy, and that also being at the forefront of technological advancements. So interesting to continue those discussions. I wanted to say one thing, not specifically about parliaments, but about the wider information disorder and political discourse, which it sounds like has been started to be touched on around social media, which is obviously we all know how much of a real and increasing threat the information manipulation is to democracy and public trust worldwide. So just wanted to flag that by way of an example, a dialogue that WFD convened in December last year with the London Social Media Observatory, an expert roundtable looking at TikTok's impact on politics and elections specifically, and how TikTok is a growing influence as a politicized space, particularly among young people, and maybe one of the social media apps that hasn't been as interrogated so far in comparison to Facebook and some of the others. And this event did bring together policymakers, academics, civil society, tech creators, strategic advisors, I suppose I just wanted to end on a bit of a challenge, both to WFD, to all of us in the room here today is, I'm not sure how helpful or realistic we think it is to be getting, the big tech companies present in these kind of discussions. But how can we, ensure that we have a diversity of voices and including sort of more technologically focused, I suppose, civil society groups, maybe some of those who were involved in the example that shared in Taiwan, and youth groups as well. So just, sort of a question to how they can support us as we try to sort of take back some of the agency over technological developments.
Thank you, Hannah. I have a question, a lot of questions, because it's like, you talked about how the British Parliament is using AI, right, for the, legislating work. But aren't you trying to use AI to listen to the voters or citizens from the Parliament?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not sure that the UK is necessarily at the cutting edge or sort of ahead of other parliaments in this space, which is partly why the AI guidelines were developed. Yes, with some experts all around the world and trying to source the leading figures on this and together. So again, I would say it's kind of more at the piloting stage. There's an initial stage of exploration, and the UK Parliament in Westminster, like others, looking to how can we accelerate engaging with AI, but not at the expense of the deliberative processes that we're concerned AI could undermine.
Okay, thank you. And I'm sure there, audience that has much knowledge about AI and even some experts in AI here. So why don't you ask please?
We are talking about AI as we talk about transitioning to AI, but AI is not statically growing exponentially. If you have like a crystal ball and if you can predict 5 years from now, and if we have the same conversation, I guess the question is over there. Where would you think we are as far in the process, as far as the transition of democracy?
Okay, 5 years later, and some people are warning that, even 5 years too long, we will wait. So what do you expect? Our conversation on AI after 5 years?
Obstacle. One is the global competition mentality. I mean, even though we propose some democratic governance on the AI, many countries and many the industrial side, argue that the global competition is more important than any, the concerning the political or social aspect. That's the one big obstacle to be handle the big issue. The another issue that is kind of become a kind of national goal for all government. So they have to make something out of their investment. So there is not only the politician, but also ordinary citizens. We already talk about the epistemic agency. We are not able to the think independently because we have been propaganda by the big tech as well as the government. So many of us, maybe against the regulating the AI because we think that the AI is more neutral, more efficient than human being. That's our mentality is another problem. So it's very urgent to, to do something about this problem, but in 5 years, I don't know. I have a little bit pessimistic about that, but now there is some kind of a movement especially in the United States. It's not related to actually the AI technology, but related to the data center. Actually, that poses a lot of problem to the student because of the high price for the electricity and also as well as the water.
Yeah, and that's it.
Yeah, so it's kind of a social problem right now.
Okay,
Yeah,
for me, I think unemployment in 5 years. There's so many people will lose jobs. It's,
Yeah, no, I was just gonna say that this topic is so difficult to discuss because the technology is changing so fast. And the scope of this issue, I think, is probably larger than just the policies that we've been touching on. Giving 3 examples, I think AI will really reorder economies. Just like the Industrial Revolution affected blue collar jobs, AI will affect white collar jobs. In the Philippines, what will happen to call centers? In India, what will happen to all the software engineers? So I think there'll be tremendous economic disruption and changes. So that's one example. I think you'll also have many unforeseen geopolitical changes. For instance, all the advanced semiconductor manufacturing right now is out of Taiwan, TSMC. That gives Taiwan certain amounts of leverage and attention. South Korea now with the memory chips, so that will have big impacts as well. And then another thing is just on the human mind, because when you talk about Gen Z, one of the important, I mean, there's always going to be a young generation by definition, but what's significant about Gen Z is that's the digital natives, right? But this year, the people who are leaving college will be the people who entered college with ChatGPT. So will college students' future be different from college students just 10 years ago, from where they learned?
yes.
So I think talking about, democratic transitions in the age of AI, to me is much more broad than just policies on algorithm and regulations. I think our societies are going to change. And it's going to change very fast.
You're absolutely right. Keep up. Such a good visionary. What will be the next one? Okay, everyone would like to give some yes. Thank you.
I'm just wondering about this whole dehumanizing that's happening because of AI. We are kind of having out of body experiences and experiments with ourselves, and we're allowing somebody to control AI because we do not know, like we here, I don't think we know who controls AI. And I think the lack of trust that many people have in this whole process of AI development is triggered by not knowing who controls it, and the fact that whoever or whatever controls it may become out of control, may become overridden by some system. I mean, we've all seen sci-fi movies and all that. I think we're very close to turning those sci-fi movies into a reality that we are not prepared to deal with. It's one thing to watch it on a screen, and it's another thing to have it happen in our current lives. And one worry that I heard about, I think I mentioned the other day about the fact that I was present at the Europe Regional Forum, the GDC Europe Regional Forum in Prague 2 weeks ago, and the topic of AI and elections in a European context was at the core of those meetings. And we have clear examples of how AI was misused in a number of European elections, Romania being such a country, Republic of Moldova. And of course, particularly in that geopolitical context, everybody's concerned about Russia, and everybody considered Russia as the AI manipulator in those instances. So for something that was invented and has been with us for 11 years, because a gentleman who presented in Prague mentioned that AI has been with us since 2005. I mean, it's such a rapid development if we think about it.
I mean, what were we doing in 2005 and what we are doing today, 11 years later, is amazing. It's unbelievable if you think about it. And speaking of where we'll be in 5 years, it's just, I don't think that our human minds are prepared to think, to have the vision of where AI is going to be in 5 years, because it's like two different universes that we're trying to bring together, and we don't have the tools. So who has those tools is going to be overriding our minds in a way, not to sound too out of this world, but just something to think about.
I guess we all agree that the ultimate decision must be humans, right? But these humans, a group of humans, have to rely on AI too. AI to control AI. Actually, in South Korea, I think it was 10 years ago too, right? There was a famous Korean Go player, Lee Sedol, and Lee Sedol was beaten by AlphaGo. And that was a shock to South Koreans and to learn about AI. How AI is machine learning in a Go is more powerful than humans. Yeah. Yes.
Yes, can I just comment, because I mean the discussions that we're having now, I'm reminded of this statement from a renowned philosopher who said that somehow AI is more powerful than nuclear weapons, because nuclear weapons cannot create more powerful nuclear weapons, but AI can potentially create more powerful AIs. So I'm just concerned when you ask the question, what will happen 5 years from now? I think that's a very difficult question to answer. But
We should ask AI.
yeah, we should, maybe we should ask AI. But I just want to circle back on that article by Senator Bernie Sanders, because his proposal is that since AI is a product of collective intelligence of humanity, we should be part owners of AI.
Right.
I mean, it should not only be owned by the tech companies. So what he's proposing is that we have to tax the tech companies 50%, and those 50% should be distributed in terms of stocks to all people. So somehow we have a stake in the development of AI, and we're not giving all the power to the tech companies. Of course, that's a radical proposal, and we may, of course, disagree with them. But something like that. I mean, we need somehow to have control and guardrails
Right.
on AI.
Then actually, I read some article saying that we have to regulate the AI as we have done for the nuclear weapons, like AI NPT, so to
Yes.
speak. But we know how destructive the nuclear weapons are, that we saw the damage in Hiroshima and Nagasaki bombing. But we don't know how bad the AI impact to our life. But I guess if 2 million people, 3 million people losing jobs, then I think we'll realize how bad the AI can be. And in the meantime, what I'm really concerned is that it's a generative AI. It's a general artificial general intelligence, very 100% automatic AI. Then I think we can control like in sci-fi movie.
Thank you. Yeah, I suppose I wanted to sort of echo what my colleague was just saying here. But if I'm being honest, personally, it's easy to feel very pessimistic about this situation. But sort of in the interest of trying to be solution oriented, there's quite a narrative at the moment. I think that AI is inevitable and it's an unstoppable force, which I think is quite anti-democratic at its core. We might agree that it is inevitable. It's happening already, but the idea that it's unstoppable kind of takes away agency from all of us. So I would just, I suppose, encourage us all to think about how we can re-inject agency into AI, which is ultimately a political project. It's not sort of naturally happening. There are individuals with political intentions who are in control of these building these systems. So Alito has mentioned some examples of taxing big corporations. There are some other ideas, initiatives. For example, the Swiss government, Switzerland, have funded some universities in Switzerland to build public AI models. Then maybe not as quick or sort of as up to the where the big tech companies models are at the moment, but they're not that far behind either, maybe sort of where they were about a year ago. So there are some sort of options, some examples where we could try to take back ownership a little bit and just really pushing for accountability and the collective decision making, so ensuring that the people, the person is involved in the process.
Thank you.
Just a quick comment on David.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I just like to add on David's question that for me, I have no doubt about the development of AI in the next 5 years. So it's not a question of what AI can do, but for me, I think we should focus on how to oversight the development of AI that can be influence the tax companies who are the father of the mother of the AI. And also we should also ask the question, what kind of AI that can do good for our society? I think some people also, the similar fears also happen when the world or some country transform to more digital. I walk around the hotel and I saw some restaurant I have no people at the counter.
Mm-hmm.
You all use machine here, but in Cambodia we still have the receptionists. So sooner or later Cambodia will certainly develop their job, but we need to train our people, especially there are some skills that AI cannot replace us.
Yeah.
And also we need to build up a capacity of human being, like critical thinking skill, empathy. I think the world needs more empathy than AI engineering now. We need balance between the technological development and also the humanity. So the skill like critical thinking skill, empathy, especially leadership. If we have good leadership, I think we can direct the AI development.
Yeah, AI can be more intelligent in humans, but they don't have emotions. They don't have love. You understand, Santiago?
Thanks for the wonderful presentation. I have one question and one confusion. The question is this: increasingly, AI is shaping the future. The jobs that we do, the kind of jobs that's going to make available, kind of government that you're going to have, a whole lot of things in front of us. The production, distribution of goods and services is entirely going to be controlled or influenced by AI, at least the way forward. But we don't get to choose the technology. It means the technology that's available, it's rolled out, and we become the consumers of technology. But we don't determine the technology itself. That's point number one. Number two, in this whole scheme of things, where is the AI governance that we need to be thinking about in order to control the 10 guys or the 10 tech giants who are in control of the situation? They are the empire. They are the ones who are controlling the future. So how do we then impose conditions? This is the kind of technology we need, and not the other type, for example, right? The confusion I have is this: I went for a talk on AI some time ago, and there was this professor who said, AI, it provides solutions to questions. No, let me say this more carefully. AI provides solutions to problems that doesn't exist. So I came back scratching my head. What the hell does that mean? I mean, you look for a solution, you have a problem, and then you look for a solution. Right? That's how we think. But here you have a solution without a problem. not a problem. So how are we supposed to navigate this? Yes.
Yeah, that's a very important question because Mr. Santiago is saying about how fragmented the AI governance is. Yeah, of course, there is a EU governance system.
Yeah.
And some countries have their own national regulation system like South Korea. But there's no global one, even though there is a debate in the UN. And one report is saying that we have to set up something like international panel on climate change, so international panel on AI. So scientists and big business and government all together to respond to this AI opportunities and threats. And you have better idea?
No, probably. This is some, very, very important but difficult questions. I suppose I would say something in the same vein that obviously AI is cross-border, so we need an international response. So, conversations like this, dialogues across countries are so important. And so I suppose how can we leverage these networks to access those in power who have influence. I think it's positive that the UN is having these discussions. I think the concern would be, is it going to move quickly enough with the need to have consensus from all countries? So are there other regional bodies that could maybe move a bit more agilely, a bit more quickly? But yeah, very much the need for us. It's good to have the governments at national level, but because you can access this AI anywhere, coordinated responses is needed.
Okay. Yes.
So I would like to get some tests here. So we had first of all, there are states that the AI since China, the censorship pretty much it's like say DeepSeek model, pretty much censorship, putting on censorship on pro democracy stuff that we all pretty much hate it. And I think it's really hard to put them on the table. That's one thing. Second thing is that technically everyone can invent their own AI models. Yeah, in academia, we do our own adapters. Like it's not like real AI, but then it's sort of like computational training technology. So when we're talking about frameworks to govern the AI, what exactly we are talking about, whether we have to govern individuals, for instance, who can invent the AI model itself. So that's something we have to think about the boundaries of individual liberty when we are thinking about the governing the AI models. Having said that, there are open source AI models around the world, like MIT's. We can control or we can see or we can dissect their algorithms. And I think as a community, we have to encourage this use of open source AI and to help out our democracies by using those open source AI. And just one last thing is that the UK Parliament Home Select Committee is going to conduct a deliberative democracy sections on immigration by using AI in September onwards. So just add up Canada. Yeah, so there is some optimism about AI to facilitate.
There's no participant from Taiwan because Taiwan is talking about using AI or depoliticize politics. Yeah. Because AI and social media have been used to deepen the polarization, right? In Philippines and in India, but the Thai model, they were saying they like to depoliticize using AI.
Because deliberative democracy is to bring people together. And there's research telling the AI models can help deliberative democracy very well. They politicize people when they move and they come.
Yes.
Yeah, I just would like to comment on Chicago question. So you highlight the answer in your own question. The key is the AI governance. And I think it's also the issue of trust. That's why we see some country make their own AI. Like in China that you said, like if you search any topic, any politically sensitive topic related to China, it's fine. In Cambodia, the Cambodian government also working on developing our own AI for age worker. So there is a room for there is a room that we can choose. I think especially for developed country, you have capacity to develop their own AI, but for developing country, there's
Yes.
Just one comment.
Listen to when people, last time we were having dinner and we talking about sovereign AI,
yeah.
and then talking about you write your own AI and all that. Then pretty much everybody's going to write their own truth. That's going to be the problem. I mean, China is going to write their own truth throughout history, their own history. In Cambodia, probably going to glorify somebody, one family, one. So that's going to be the problem if every model is going to write and rewrite history, because whoever can provide the most data is going to win. It's pretty much.
Yeah. We still need hard copy to double check the.
In terms of the data, I'm not sure about that, but some experts that there is a kind of threshold. If you have this amount of data, then we can develop the AI model. We kind of marginalize effect. So that means every country have some possibility to develop AI model. Previously, we don't think that way, but now so many AI models, and they think that they pass some point. Data doesn't, the amount of the data doesn't matter. So I believe that every country can have some possibility to develop their own AI system. But also it's very difficult and very important, because nowadays when I use the Pro and I using some deep research model, they use a lot of tokens. So now actually I pay $25 per month, but if I use more, I have to pay $100, $200 a month. So it's kind of going to be economically dependent. That's a very, very big problem. So that's why we have to have your own alternative, the US big tech.
But is that realistic?
Is
that realistic?
Realism. Yeah.
I mean, is it realistic to have your own model?
Now,
Only at this time.
depends on how you have your the capability to build some computing, capability and some energy source and data and maybe some the AI architecture. All these things is necessary, but not impossible.
I think sovereign AI is arguing that you don't need a very comprehensive foundational infrastructure. Certain level of infrastructure is enough, but essence of sovereign AI is that each country control their own data, level of tech, and also the data should be very much equal because and embedded their own culture, languages. But Marty is saying that actually there is no documented data written in your own languages,
Right.
so they are still disadvantaged. I haven't thought it that way. Yeah. So you need the documented data.
No, but I can see, you develop your own sovereign data. If you're a middle income country or if you're a rich country. But for a lot of LDCs, and this is going to be a challenge, Yes. But I'm not so sure that we have the capacity to come out with our own sovereign data. Because the problem of AI is that it's going to fundamentally change the way we learn and we teach. The schooling system has to change.
Right.
So this is going to take a massive overhaul of the system, which I don't think our governments are familiar and also prepared to manage the transition. So that's going to be a cost factor as well.
Yes.
So that is why there's a need for an urgent global governance on AI. Otherwise, we are going to be in trouble. And the real fear is 10 guys, 10 metas of the world will control the way we think and the way we do things. So this is the ultimate danger.
Yeah. Okay, I think James and then. Lindsay.
Yeah, I just wanted to share with you a little bit about what Asia Center does, just to add sort of lived experience. You have seen our AI agent has given you a flyer. That is not published yet for Deutsche Welle. Deutsche Welle wanted to know how AI is being used in journalism of independent media. And essentially they had a sense that it was being used clumsily, without, good professionalism and ethics control. They had a sense, but they wanted us to investigate and make that clear. And we did find that it was a bit clumsy, partly because of absence of training, ethical guidelines, and so on and so forth. And we, at Asia Center, we coined the term after, this was a study in Asia Pacific for 16 countries. It will be published soon, co-branded with Japan. And we introduced the term called principled caution. Yeah, principled caution. That means you use AI, but you are generally self-cautious, right? Because of all the things that the panelists have said, because of the inherent difficulty. So I wanted to just share with you, that finding, and this is how, partners in our space who see media, independent media journalists as a democratic ally, what they are doing and how they are thinking. So that's one. The second thing is we also participated, we have been participating in the last 2 years, a range of AI activities, including with ITU, and the last one was with the Asia Europe Foundation, and they had an activity in Copenhagen. And the discussion there was leading to lobbying or having in the UN a special rapporteur on AI. Oversight, I guess, your point about needing oversight. So I just wanted to share that there are movements there. I think we in the region need to tap those global conversations. Do we support appointment of a special rapporteur? So, Salmo, please speak up for us. Okay, so I just wanted to just share. Go back to you.
Okay, I think, yeah, push the end at 3 p.m. Am I right?
Yeah, I guess, but I think if there are questions, we can go on for another few minutes.
Or, anyone who has a question or comment?
Professor.
Scott?
Yeah, I just want to have a short comment on AI governance. So I believe that globally ongoing discussions have been ongoing. And I'm just wondering whether Asia is properly represented in those discussions. Because from what I hear, and Korea, Japan, and maybe Taiwan are the most advanced when it comes to AI use. And you are in a better position to represent the region in these discussions. So I'm just wondering whether Asian concerns are being properly represented, because I think the observations that for example, in Southeast Asia, since most of us are end users of AI, we're not really in the position to participate in such discussions, but you are. So I just hope that our region's interests are represented in those discussions.
Sure, I think, I checked the inaugural members of the AI Safety Summit, and there are actually many Asian and African countries. Japan was there, and India was there, and not to mention South Korea, Japan, and other Asian countries. So I think Global South is speaking up. Yeah, so it's a good sign. But how we just converge our voices to talk about East Asian voice is important. So I think I agree with Hannah. Maybe just a sub-regional and a larger region rather than global is better. So in that aspect, I hope we can continue to discuss on creating Asia's the AI governance system. Yes.
Hello, I'm Deborah from Songong University. We study ACE, mainly like ACE, Asian Civil Society, NGO. So my question is like over at the end of the session, like my question is like, what is the goal or how can you use AI for democracy? Because for me, it's the first time to learn what is a democracy and also first time to connect like AI also and AI also democracy. For keeping during this session, my question is like for what? Also, what is the meaning exactly? Like, how can we use democracy for developing the how can we use AI for developing democracy?
Yeah.
Because as you say, like that Google like today using to maximize their profit, so they can use their AI that way, like different to showing the price to maximize their profit. But at that time, like Democratic Party, how can we use AI to maximize democracy? Of course, one of the things like some gathering people voice is really important, but for me, it's quite a bit until now like ambiguous. It is not concrete. What is the meaning like? How to gather people's voice using AI, and so what is our governance, especially some working field workers experience as your experience, like what is the how can you use AI for
I think there are many questions. If I just think of just immediately two things. AI can be very effective tool to collect the opinions of citizens. You know, we can have this kind of town hall meeting, but AI can do thousands and 10,000s very quickly using the AI tool. So they can ask the citizen opinion and they can classify the answers beautifully in second, right? And second, AI can provide a professional advice. If I want to write a law in certain things, let's say AI governance, I ask the AI, why don't you review the existing laws governing AI? And I'd like to add this point. Can you draft? Or I draft the law and ask my AI, is there anything I'm violating law, like privacy law, or is the kind of the freedom of expression as force? Then the machine can check whether where my bill is flawed. So in that aspect, there are many good examples. Anyone who want to add how we utilize AI for democracy?
And we can make the government more accountable. I mean, they are already talk about the information gap between the government and citizen. We can, if the government provide the information, we can use AI to detect some wrongdoing in the government, or we can oversight how they use the budget and something like that. That was previously we cannot do that, but we use AI. We can make the government more accountable if we have some tool and the data and the design for people AI design for people. But we are not expert on the AI technology, but we ask the AI, the expert to design AI with the ethics and safety and democracy. We can make it. Now the control and authority of the AI is under the big giant tech company. But we have to take that power from company to normal people. That's why we have to do to make this happen.
Hannah and Dmitro.
Thanks, yeah, very well articulated points already about how it can enhance efficiency, public participation and accountability. Just one more idea that I've been thinking about. I don't know if this is perhaps too optimistic, blue sky thinking, but we talk a lot about how AI is fueling polarization. I've been thinking about whether in an ideal world, and if the model is fed unbiased data, and if we are able to control in the system, if there's some way that AI could actually support reduced polarization in terms of supporting individuals or groups on different ends of the political spectrum to find statements or policy areas that actually they could align and agree on, whether there's some way that the machine learning could help us to get to points of agreement, which then over longer term could go beyond just, oh, actually we can agree on one very simple statement. Over time that builds to realize the similarities and connections that people do.
Thank you. Just less than 1 minute.
Yes, I just want to give a concrete example what you're asking. So in the speech given by our former Vice President Lenny Robredo, and now Mayor of Naga City, she was saying that they developed an app in her municipality, and this AI-powered app was able to collect around 2,000 concerns from the public. So the app organized, systematized the data, and because of that, they were able to address 1,000 of those complaints or concerns in a very short period of time. So I think that's a concrete demonstration on how AI can make government responsive.
So 1 minute. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's depend on. It's the action of AI that we are going to use for democracy. So it can be like our analyst mentioned, but I can highlight two things. Like the government use AI chatbot to respond to the people inquiry faster, more effective. For the work in the closing and shrinking space, the activists can also use AI for their campaign. Like they use AI that generate voice. They instead of in the past, Cambodian activists they videotape their own. They are the actor in their video, but now they use AI as an actor. They also use the AI voiceover to narrate their video. So it's less risky for them and also the skill effective.
So I think the time is up. So I'd like to suggest, maybe next year, every year, we have an AI session. So check our concerns from the perspective of democracy. Okay, so that's my suggestion. And thank you for the 4 excellent panelists for sharing your knowledge and your wisdom. Thank you.
Thank you, Professor Lee.
Yes.
Also for the kind moderation. We now have a tea break. I think coffee can maybe. Next, please take your time to enjoy them, stretch your legs. We have about 15 minutes, come back slowly. And then we will have the final session, which will be led by intervention by our newly appointed ambassador on democracy and human rights, Selmo Lee. And then we'll have a kind of a short group discussion just to finalize our ideas and then wrap up. Okay, I'll be guiding you. So please enjoy your tea break, well-deserved rest.
Thank you so much.
Toilet at the back.
Let's take a group photo.
I think they have expressed for themselves.
Maybe we can do that afterwards, later. Oh, for that one. Oh, okay. What do we find?
Okay.
Sorry.
have a neighbor map.
Yeah.
It was yeah, using the Trump government power, but for the security, we have this way, so instead of. Also, thank you. One, two, three, four. That is fine. Thank you.
Thank you. Nice.
Oh.
Yes, little bit for our person. I.
Hello. Hi.
Yeah.
Yeah, hi.
Yeah.
Wow. Still, big parts, yeah. Is very. I only said the
Hi, everyone. Yeah, please, slowly take your seats. Welcome, welcome. Hi, everyone. Yeah, please take a seat. We are now sailing towards our final destination. We have about an hour. Yeah, yeah, about an hour because they will take over the room and start setting up. I'm very pleased to have with me officially Lee Seong-hoon. The first thing that we all realized was that was his real name. For years, it's simply calling him Anselmo Lee. And it's such a, when one of your friends, gets kicked upstairs, right? We say we are all up. So we were very happy to follow you upstairs. I'm a fan and I'm very delighted, just like many of us are delighted that it is our own Anselmo Lee who's in this position, a very new position. It's the Ambassador for Human Rights, Peace, and Democracy. Anselmo has already shared very briefly the terms of his appointment. But knowing Anselmo and knowing appointments, the agency of the human being behind the appointment can really transform the appointment and set the standards for others to follow. And I'm sure he'll do us proud of that role. So Anselmo, once again, just for our colleagues' benefit, you have people in the room who are your agents, your AI agents, if you must, they're your AI democracy agents. So please, once again, tell us the formality and parameters of your role. And then share us your observation and vision for democracy, not necessarily in Korea, but beyond, so that we can use some of those elements that you say into our short breakout discussion in terms of what we can do as friends in the region. So without further ado, over to you.
Okay, thank you very much for your kind introduction. Good afternoon once again. Let me check who was here this morning, the opening session. Okay, more than half. Okay, I don't want to repeat what I said. So once again, my Korean name is Song-hoon. I'm also very strange to say Korean name to you because I used to use Anselmo as a English name. It's a baptism name. I was baptized when I was young. The church. I use this time for like a many human rights democracy activists. Security is very important, right? That's why I use this Anselmo for name for activism. So that in case there is something, they don't recognize me in my passport. But now I cannot put anymore. So I use my Korean name but still Anselmo. There was a time Singapore in the 90s, there's a World Bank meeting, and many of us went to Singapore. I didn't have any problem. There's some of my Korean friends, they got stuck at the airport and they deported. But luckily I used Anselmo, but she used a whole Korean name. So there was a case that, anyway, so I think you may find very strange, the title, the Human Rights, Peace, Democracy, was appointed months ago. And this also linked to so-called light revolution, as I introduced this morning. But it's, in fact, this frame, the human rights, peace, democracy, is nothing new. And those have been to Gwangju, I guess some of you, right? Gwangju, they have a local decree named Gwangju is a city of democracy, human rights, and peace. So when they saw my name, wow, this is a Gwangju, but different order. You know. Gwangju is a democracy, human rights, peace, but my title is human rights, peace, democracy. I guess you can guess why, you know, why different order. Because Gwangju is according to historical experience order. You know. Democracy 1980, and then human rights city, then was peace. There was an idea. But now we realize, as you know now, 2 years ago, there was I know there are a lot of the perspective, you know, why, you know, what really triggered, you know, our former president to take such a action. So we realize democracy, many felt democracy was the past. So now we have to move forward, but it was not. You know. That's why we felt, okay, democracy is not past anymore. Democracy is the present and future. That's why order change. Democracy land. So human rights, peace, and democracy. And also those who are working for SDG, Sustainable Development Goal, this community, they immediately recognize, wow, you are SDG 16. I don't know whether you're familiar with SDG 16. 6 is a peace, justice, strong institution, or inclusion. So peace, as you know, you can use a peace, whether it's a democratic country, non-democratic country, but justice is always sensitive. Some countries were not happy with the justice. That's why, no, human rights. So in UN SDG language, justice instead of human rights. Again, democracy is a more controversial and sensitive. That's why they use very neutral term, strong institution or inclusion. So in fact, actually 16, for me, peace, human rights, and democracy. But official name UN is peace, justice, strong institution, or inclusion. So that's why I used to, I'm teaching in university. When I introduce SDG, always say SDG 16 as a backbone or essential condition for sustainable development. In other words, the good governance or democratic governance. So I call PhD, easy to remember. Peace, human rights, democracy.
That's
But
right.
I don't have a PhD. So PhD,
But you now can put it behind you. This PhD.
not PhD, not D, but PhD the full. This is something we need to practice, not to study to obtain. That's why the joke. We need a lot of PhD people. Okay, so that's why I put it the email address ambassador for PhD. So without PhD, you can practice PhD. So as I joked with you yesterday, so ambassador in head, but advocacy at heart. So I'm not diplomat. I'm not diplomat. I'm the ambassador. So as a civic ambassador or people's ambassador, that means of course I can be very diplomatic, but not with us. I can be very frank. I can discuss all the issues with us. Okay. So there's a short background. So now, and also this human rights, peace, democracy for me is not only actually 16 and also the Gwangju. It's more than that. I don't know whether you remember target 4.7 of SDG, so-called global citizen education, which contain human rights, gender equality, and peace, non-violent, many things. So my mandate is also very much linked to the global citizen education, the UNESCO and other projects, as well as the pact for the future. I'm looking whether you are familiar with this UN, jargon. It was a summit 2024, summit of the future. Outcome document name is pact for the future. There are two declarations. One is a declaration of future generations. The other one is global digital compact. So I want to associate my mandate with this pact for the future. It's a more futuristic, not past. And also, lastly, the Peace Building Commission, as you know, Peace Building Commission, in addition to the Security Council. But Security Council also very important because I'm holding the title Peace, especially the Security Council Resolution 1325, Women, Peace, and Security. The other one, 2250, the Youth, Peace, and Security. So these are some of the global agenda which I want to work and build a coalition to implement. my mission beyond the Korea. Okay, this is short introduction about my job and my mission. I want to introduce also the light revolution. I don't want to describe anymore. I'm sure you are very familiar with the process. Only 4 or 5 key lessons in terms of human rights, peace, and democracy. Number one, is a citizen. Number one is the citizens are best basics of democracy. Of course, we can see democracy as a value, institution, and process, whatever. But when it's not working, functioning at all, final basis of the citizens, especially the conscientized citizen, that's a big lesson. So throughout the history of Korean democracy, we have many times, as we introduced, the 1960, 1980, 87. So that's what we call dynamic democracy. That is number one. Citizens, organized citizens, very important. Number two is active non-violence. I think it's very important. I want to illustrate active non-violence. We saw a lot of demonstration and protests in Nepal and Indonesia and all over the world, right? A lot of violence. But we used to be also very violent, but it was very passive. When I was young, 80s, and I was also in the streets, 1987. There's a lot of ethical debate among students. Should we throw the rocks against, riot police? Because they are fire, what for?
Tear gas.
Tear gas, in defense. So even there was and also many students sacrifice instead of killing police, the police, they decide to sacrifice themselves in protest. But there was a last choice in the 1980s, 70s under military dictatorship. But we don't need that anymore. No? So context has changed. So now this non-active, non-violent is a strong tool. And also we realize you can bring more people. So this is also case in Gwangju. So those have been to Gwangju, you may hear the story, the 10 days of self-rule. In the beginning of Gwangju, there was a bloody, the military attack. And then students first, they took to the streets, and then some of them were killed, and then more citizens joined. Finally, military, they decided to withdraw. Now, there are so many citizens. So for 10 days, it's a real community of self-rule, without any single violence or crime. So during this time, the light revolution was really, really peaceful in the sense there's no crime. So this was a very good example of active non-violence, which we need to really promote. Because this active non-violence also strengthen legitimacy and then bring more citizens. That's why we have a lot of, the right sticks. As we, the first keynote speaker introduced, it's a combination of traditional democracy activists plus new generation of K-pop combination. And there's synergy. And these are one of the key factors for successful non-violent democratic resilience. Number three, the third lesson is democracy is prepared in time of peace, not only the time of turmoil. I think that's very important. There has been a lot of, especially Korea Democratic Foundation, last 20, 30 years, they've been putting a lot of energy and resources on democratic citizenship education. So this time, very interestingly, even soldiers, those energy generation, many people say, oh, they are not concerned about human rights, democracy, or blah, blah, blah. But in fact, energy generation, they knew what president is, although they are soldiers, they were brave enough to not to obey the order. The soldier, if you don't obey, then you go to jail, right? But nevertheless, they realize this is not common sense. We cannot accept it. I think that's very important, the sabotage of military middle level and also soldiers. I think this is the result of the citizens' education in the time of peace. I think number 3 lesson. Number 4 lesson for me is that human rights, peace, democracy cannot never be separated. The integrate. There's one reason that my mandate is 3. But in the past, we used to have a human rights ambassador, I think early 2000. And also we have an envoy on peace, and also some country has a democracy ambassador, right? Ambassador for democracy, Sweden or some European countries, right? Etc. But this first time, the three together, human rights, peace, democracy, nexus. I think that's very important because the live revolution, you call is a democratic resilience, but it's not only democracy, it's a prevention of conflict, big conflict. If you know the context that it was the, the South Korea military sent the drones to North Korea to provoke North Korea. So if North Korea respond and use that to justify bigger military, so really, really at that time. So that's why the peace is very important in Korean Peninsula to protect and promote democracy in Korean context, and also to prevent the massive human rights violation. Okay, that's why these three, the human rights, peace, democracy is the interlink, and we need to approach more integral manner. That's why my mandate title is below the three. Then lastly, the youth. So the young people are not the future of democracy, but present. So a lot of young people, they learn from this experience about what is a democracy, and there's also a very opportunity for intergenerational dialogue. These are the 5 lessons from the live revolution. And the number one, once again, number one is the citizens, importance of active citizens. Number 2, active non-violence. Number 3, civic educations, the time of peace. Number 4, the integral approach, the peace, human rights, democracy, and lastly, the youth. So my mandate, how to translate this lesson into concrete action with the international community, especially with we have ADN, we have a GDC, Asia Center, and then many others. So that's why I'm very happy to be here. I want to listen, I want to learn from you how we can work together. Because, we have a lot of experience in different countries, but now is really time to build international solidarity. So lastly, I want to share with you some of my ideas while listening to this interesting panel and trying to take a note, and also trying to digest, what you're discussing. So AI and PhD. The first, AI, when I was young, AI means Amnesty International. At the same time, AI means what's the avian influenza. But now nobody questions. AI means the human rights gone, and then that's international gone. So this AI almost everywhere, right? Every day and everywhere. So now, in fact, I was checking I don't know, my president. Do you know where's my president? Lee Jae-myung? Not, I cannot say our president because actually, we said our president, I hear my president, or some of your president. He's in Brussels. He signed that communique between the Korea and European Union. I was reading while listening to your presentation. There are 5 paragraphs about AI. One of them is collaboration of deep tech collaboration, EU and Korea. Of course, there are many others. But I believe this EU and South Korea collaboration is very, very important. I think this is one of the strategic agenda to develop the AI common strategies between 2 different models. As you know, we have a China model, we have a US model. Very much the market driven, the other one is the state driven, right? And in between, so idea is, and although this also part of my strategy, at the age of AI, how we can develop democratic alliance for sovereign and democratic and inclusive AI in terms of development and governance. I think this will define the future of our democracy, because AI will dominate our daily life, including democracy, human rights, almost everything. So now we have only 2 models, because many countries are forced to choose which way. You want to follow American way, big tech, Palantir, big picture, or China. So in between, there are many so-called middle power or small powers. So my big question is, how can we create a coalition of small and middle power? For instance, we have a friend from Japan, right? We have friends from Taiwan. So we are in between, right? The two models, China and can we create like-minded group? And also together with the ASEAN or beyond ASEAN, Europe, and others. I think this is one of the challenges, opportunities we can discuss today in terms of dialogue. And also that's I want to coin another word, digital Bandung. Anybody from Indonesia?
I was brought up in
I saw one Indonesian from Jenny. Discussed with the digital Bandung. I even asked, how is the Bandung mayor? He said not bad. So digital, I don't know, Bandung hit the 1955 non-aligned movement. The split of Bandung. Can you create a digital Bandung that split? So the way, sovereign, respecting sovereignty, at the same time, inclusive and democratic. I think, but this is too big. It's beyond the capacity of our usual civil society. We need to really broaden our partnership. Thank God we have international IDEA, which is an international organization. Through IDEA, we can bring more partners. So traditional national government and civil society and cities, the local government and parliament, and the labor union too. So I think these are the three key essential partners, especially the cities. Like Mandan in New York, Paris, we have a Guangzhou, and many others. How can you identify the mayors for democracy? And there can be our future agenda or our discussion. And lastly, in fact, I made a text. I gave it to Notebook Eren, but Notebook Eren did not understand it's a language of democracy. So when I saw the outcome, I was very disappointed, so I decided not to use Notebook Eren. So I'm using this text for. So lastly,
Exactly like ChatGPT, right? You move on, you don't expose the conversation, right? So just a round of applause of encouragement. Not only, but I want you to just sit here. I want to ask one question. Before we invite the group, I will allow a couple of questions for Anselmo if you have. But this is connected to our working group discussion. You can maybe take a minute or two. You've been working for more than 30 years in this area, not just in Korea, around the world, delivered to Thailand and elsewhere. As you sit across the last 2 days, what is the key thing that you see? I know it's been, we will need to simplify it, but what is the one key challenge you think from where you have been in terms of your experience, the challenge for democracy? I mean, colleagues have been talking about many challenges. One thing that kind of hits you as an important one.
I don't understand AI. Not Energy International, but
okay, you say AI. Fine, great. So, colleagues, we'll go on to the next slide, and I would like you to maybe, turn your chairs into groups of 5, and we have 3 questions that I would like you to take for 15 minutes and discuss them. I'm just waiting for the team to start sharing the question slide. Maybe that'll be easier. Yeah, so 15 minutes to 20 minutes max, maybe turn yourself into groups. You have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 5, I think we can have 4 groups. And there are 3 questions. The questions are 1, we have been talking about backsliding a lot, but and we did so in the beginning of the session yesterday. But as we moved on, we also realize that among us, there's been a lot of initiatives. Jerry, if you could just close the window, yeah. So I'll read the questions and the instructions. Please review the following 3 questions and in small groups, discuss them for about 15 to 20 minutes and have one person from each group to report back. Anselmo, your job is to listen to them and respond. While democracy may be backsliding, the growth of democracy, NGOs, and networks in Asia has been exceptional, and that's good news. It's exceptional in spite of, organizational and resource constraints. How can we encourage coordination and economies of scale for the promotion of democracy in Asia? So we have a good bounce, but we are also constrained by, a lot of interest, but reduced resources. So how can we, encourage coordination and economies of scale? And, I guess the team that prepared the questions also had what Anselmo in mind and what the last panel had said. We are increasingly hearing of the role of AI in politics. But in what practical way can we leverage AI for democracy promotion work? We've talked about algorithm, we talked about challenges, but in the practice, are you using for your work? Do you have an idea of how to use it? If you ask me at Asia Center, do we use AI? Yes, we do, primarily for research, but only for generating ideas. Only where we use it more is usually in translation. Yeah, translation, even then we will have to have the human to read through. Right now, we are looking at coding of qualitative text. It's still not working very well. But translation is the one. Transcription, if it's in English, it's also very, very helpful. So it reduces costs for us. And because we do a sizable amount of practice-based research, this is very, very helpful. You interview someone, it's transcribed straight away, you cross-check, do 10 interviews, you can do coding and all of that, right? It can be helpful for small language polishing, like say a social media post, but it doesn't work if you put an op-ed on one-page article. Yeah, it can be off. Then international development funding is becoming scarce for work in Asia and globally in general. Everybody is affected. IGOs, regional NGOs, local NGOs, community groups. No one is spared. So should we, since we are based in the region, should we start focusing on resources in Asia? Where should we look? What should we say to prospective donors? And who can these donors be? Right? Others are coming to Asia to prospect here. If you're Asian and you have not been prospecting, you are already in. Everybody else is here prospecting in your backyard. Right? So, so those are the 3 questions. They were motivated by your conversation, what you had. So the team was listening and they came up with this. So you have 15 minutes. So please get to work.
Oh,
Yeah. No AI. No AI. No AI.
oh, no, we are. Oh.
Shame much. Only your I'm not.
of love. Why, maybe one line. They have to go. But this way. That's the. What?
Yeah.
Yes. Or.
Okay, and like wire Democrats may be backbiting the democratic of the network in nature with the exception. Probably representation and not be scared for the show. Actually, I will.
Yeah.
I don't think it's a party. Because the student things that think like. I don't know, it's on part. You present these movements, stuff, yeah, about let's, they are. Yeah. That's not AGO, that's the mix. On this. Well, my.
Has to be heard it, you know.
And there need someone. So. Something to say about.
So you all have a mic in your group, whoever is responsible for that. We'll go one question at a time. So, well, I'll start here on the right. And the first question, which was around backsliding. In spite of backsliding, we still have a lot of groups coming up, they're doing good work. How can we ensure economies of scale and also ensure efficient use of resources? What were your thoughts from this group? For question one.
We put everything on Japan. Oh, okay. The answer, the key to the answer, the key to the solution is Japan.
Can you tell us a little bit more?
Japan government needs to step up as the largest economy in the region. They do have certain responsibility to the region, even though they don't know it yet, because because right now they enjoy freedom, they enjoy everything, and but it's in the region is shrinking. And right now the rising of the far right in the thought, it kind of show that the space is shrinking and it's going to be Taiwan, Korea, and Japan that need to step up, because as the US pull back and we don't know when the US is going to come back, and it kind of depends. If we just wait for the US to take a more leading role, we might die out. So in this shrinking space, Japan, because Japan's helped spend so much money through JICA anyway, and because JICA is a government to government, when the people of Japan using their taxpayer to strengthen authoritarian government like Cambodia, it only strengthen autocrats. And why keep the money on foreign aid the same? They can just allocate it to help NGOs instead, to pro-democracy activists, things like that. So we're not asking to increase money on foreign aid. We just ask that Japanese government need to use the resource better and smarter in this environment. And it requires the coordination of the Japanese government, the Taiwanese government, and the Korean government. And the time to act is now or soon. We cannot wait too long.
No, I think this is something that we have been asking of Japan for many years. First of all, can they please become a full member of International IDEA, please? 20 years since I was at International IDEA, they've only be observer, that's too long. Come on. Okay, which also means that Korea also, I think on behalf of everyone, we are also giving you an ultimatum within 2 years. Please. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, please start the process for Korea to join International IDEA. Looks like we may also have to have this meeting in Tokyo.
Yes.
And then properly lobby the government with force, right?
Force.
With force, emotional force, lots of that, So we look for Giles to be the JCI to be the coordinator. Okay, next group. So question one. Everybody's got a mic, so hang on to it.
Yeah.
On coordination?
Yes.
So on coordination, we discussed that we reflect on where we are today, convenings as such, and that that coordination needs to start locally, regionally, sub-regionally, and then cross-regional. Another theme that came up in a discussion was the need to involve youth activists, students in universities, and engage them in conversations early on, because they are growing more and more interested in the future of democracy as it affects them quite, the future is theirs, and that we need to learn from each other. We also discussed how we had recent events where the themes that have come up is the value of cross-regional learning. Our context may be unique, but our issues are more and most likely the same. So we need to come together to the same table. And continue convenings as such to ensure that coordination continues. And related to the third question on donors and fundings, with the shrinking fundings allocated to NGOs, IGOs, the UN, we're now forced to collaborate in a way that has not been the case before, which we think is a good outcome of a bad situation. So we need to carry that on and keep talking to each other.
Okay, still on question one, but you have brought in for question three as well. And yeah, so kind of ground arm coordination of national, regional, cross-regional, and coordination can also allow us economies of scale. I think that's the language that we already hear. We are talking about coupling events together. This is one example of us, working with KDF, International Idea, Catering Foundation, bring the networks together. So we got a bit of a bigger emphasis. So I guess that's good. Over there.
So we talked a lot. The key points are we talked about citizen platforms. My colleague here may be able to share more if he's happy to about how online spaces can bring together lots of people and how we can leverage that better. Use of technology in an open way. We also talked about strategic approaches. So we may in this community have fewer resources than governments or powerful groups. But we can still be successvel if we are targeted. So if we know who are the right individuals to tap and channel our efforts in that way. We also maybe went a little bit off question, but I think we talked about if you wanted to enact change, coordinate, come together in that consolidated way, needing to have sort of the people power and the backing behind you. So we talked about social media and how that can be a force for generating interest around key issues. We went on a tangent about how elite capture of government is a huge issue, and that is fueling youth complacency. So in some cases, we are seeing youth uprisings and pressing for government change, pressing for more democracy. Partly social media helping to influence that, but how we can support those movements and groups to be sustained. In some cases, they unfortunately burn out quite quickly.
Okay, so twice we've heard about youth as a focal point and a component of who we want to coordinate with. We hear the use of technology for coordination and also for amplification of issues, and then here I think an increasing wisdom in the room and also in this part of the world that we do need to look for resources within. And your group, I think, just echoing that wisdom. Over to
Okay. So actually we have some get idea like some step opinions. Because the first category is like while democracy may be backsliding, the growth of democracy and coordination has been exceptional, but some of our team members are obviously against that. They mention like of course some country like South Asia, like Nepal and Sri Lanka and Bangladesh, also they have some protests, especially led by Gen Z. But obviously, the how can I say, that factors. The real thing is like actually the democracy way that shrinking now. There's a backsliding, obviously. So at that time, we are also listening the case from Nepal. of course, she explained like nowadays, like after starting the Gen Z protests in Nepal, and many people like engage the politician, especially like young people engage the political way or some parties. But not actually, there are not too much civil society working for democracy. It's quite a bit small size. And at the same time, one of our member mentioned like the real problem, like we can see as a like Gen Z protest is not violence of organization, civil society organization. It's just led by like, especially supporting by media. So at that time, many young people just individually, they engage and they start to protest. So we are talking about like, it's really trying to thinking about like, what is the role of civil society organization? Also, there are some limitation of these days civil society organization, like much more becoming elite organization and quite a bit disconnected from grassroots. Also, one of our members mentioned, and that's why we have some skeptical perspective. We discussed about that, and also that funding is like we mentioned like Korean and Japan, Taiwan, like Australia, like one of the rich country in Asia also have to show up. And problem is like in Korea, we still going on like political and so understanding democracy and development, like economy or democracy development. So we are still going on, but it's working. And for me, it's important for this human rights, peace, and democracy. Yes.
Yeah. Skeptical. Put that up. Right. What I heard of the deconstruction of society, whether it's even relevant in the manner that we know of it, right? Given technology, the lack of funding, we've heard Vito also mention about the thinking behind those political parties, right? The second, on the first day, the first panel, we even questioned how effective elections are, right? So the things that we know of universities, the nature of learning, is mentioned earlier also, right? So a lot of things where we talk about workforce deconstruction with AI. So I think we need to really rethink all the things that we know of and see how that can change, and that should also, I think, inform how we think about coordinating, right? As well. So thank you for that proactive thought process. I want to kind of go quickly on the second question. I know some people didn't reach the third question, but it's AI. Very quickly, some thoughts on the AI group. Oh, okay, we'll start with over there. Yeah. I see the mic quickly being passed away to the next person.
Yeah, right?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, based on our experience then, using AI for people to help to make their opinion clear and help providing some meaningful information, what they want to write. It's one thing I think big advantage in AI democracy. And the other thing is that probably some our safety place from the hate speech or harmful effect by using AI monitoring something that hate speech. We can monitoring many text from our in our society or our community. That's the other thing. We experience that useful adoption of AI.
Yeah, I think that's a good point. When we talk about online harm, we need to be very explicit of AI harm as well. Any other thoughts on AI? I know we did have a discussion, but yeah, Maria.
So we wanted to first acknowledge that the AI landscape is not a level playing field. The capacities of the government and autocratic institutions are much stronger than the citizens who are on the receiving end of the information. However, to make democracy more effective, we identified a few ways where the use of AI can be helpful. One is fact-checking propaganda, especially in authoritarian contexts. When resources are limited, creating AI agents when you can't actually hire human capacity, creating online agents to either fact check, write, assess, research. And then again, in authoritarian context, AI can help preserve the anonymity, voiceovers, blurring of faces, civil activists who are not comfortable in and don't feel safe enough to express their opinions can now do so by using anonymity provided by AI tools. And lastly, using AI to make democracy more accessible. In a lot of contexts, we're seeing people are using AI to translate complex government documents into simple translations where you understand the processes of the parliament, how elections work, how to vote, how to write a bill, how to write to your government representatives. And in this way, using the translations from AI to self-guided, in a self-guided civic education mode. So these are some of the best practices we see that can be done currently with AI, despite the lack of strong governance structures.
Almost sounds like a good toolbox. That, I want to kind of slowly bring things to a close just to announce ahead. There's a special guided tour for us starting at 5:05. So we have some minutes, so we're in good shape. So again, maybe from you, some thoughts on the last question, if we had time to speak about it in the group. No, generally your thought. Is there any thoughts? Did you get that far? Funding, the third question. It's okay while you gather thoughts up with this group. Any thoughts on funding? Yeah, please.
One of our groups who remain nameless, that's that we robbed that. It's
Pareto Bank.
Just very quick thoughts that we had were cost sharing, which has been mentioned, looking at wealthy individuals, targeting those individual donors, considering loans as well, maybe the multilateral development banks. Yeah, and Korean VA. Korean over.
Yeah, a lot. It is pretending. Let's complete the topic. Hey, Brenda. Right, see. Okay, I've got here. So sorry. Go on a roll, go ahead.
Echoing what Marty said, the answer is Japan, but also South Korea and Taiwan. We believe that the Asian donors need to step up, make sure that the region is also well funded, or what happens in your backyard is important to your own peace security as well. And also, we don't think that the global donors should give up because, again, what happens in Asia doesn't stay in Asia. There's global implications. So while we focus on Asian donors, I think we should still lobby for Western funding still.
I want to bring this point. I know colleagues in the room have it. It's the AVPN, the Asian. Somebody help me out. Asian Vision Philanthropic Network, AVPN. Okay, there is this growing group of donors. They are working out of Singapore. There have been many INGOs, including donors, trying to go up to them to see if they could give money also to the kind of work that we do. But you know, there has been, well, in way, right? Simply don't answer. Either don't answer or simply say, I don't know. So I think that's a good place to poke. I think they do give money, but more around development at this stage. But people are attending their conferences, trying to find a way how to access funds, what they can say to them. And this is big money. It's really big money. So I think if they can be, another job for you, sorry. To meet, that they do have annual conferences once again, operating out of Singapore. So that's something also that we look at as a possible lobby point. So thank you very much for your kind thoughts. Was there anything else from anyone? If no, of course we can chat at happy hour at 6. Looking forward to that. And some just last words or reaction to what everyone has said. Yeah.
I just want to mention about the funding of the day. I think with the Professor Lee Kut-chung, we have been some time ago, right, working to create Korea Democracy Fund, not foundation. The Korea Democracy Fund is misleading. They don't have money to support. Korean name is wrong. Korean full name translation Memorial Committee for Korea Democracy Movement. That means a part. But English name, I don't know who made English name, Korea Democracy Foundation.
It's very misleading, right?
Misinformated.
So that's why we were trying to, let's now mismatch the message.
ChatGPT got it wrong.
So that's why our is a truly genuine Korea Democracy Foundation, support democracy movement, not only Korea but also because we benefited so much when people are struggling in Korea 70s, 60s, 70s, 80s. We got so much support from United States and also from Asia. I still remember when I was young, we got so much inspired by Philippine people power in 87. And the 87 Korea and Taiwan wave, the first democratic wave. But somehow after that, we didn't. So there's a big challenge how we can, and also after that, of course, we have the Southeast Asia, Indonesia, Malaysia, and a few years ago, the Sri Lanka, Bangladesh, and Nepal, one after another. But somehow we are not able to create some kind of solid foundation to support consolidate democracy. I think these are collective responsibility of Japan, once again, first, and Korea, and Taiwan, and Australia. I think these are our common responsibility. We need to strengthen the democracy as a collective. Of course, we have a part issue, but we have to move forward. For instance, can you create a coalition Korea, Japan for Cambodia and Myanmar? The Japan has influenced Myanmar for Southeast Asia, for economic reasons. But can you work together for democracy for Korea, Japan? The France and Germany. They created international human rights over together.
Yeah.
It's a sign of reconciliation between Japan and France and Germany. They are fighting, but now they are working together for democracy. Can you create a similar model? Then we can add more. I think let's be more creative. And of course, the first step is the Japan become full member of IDEA. Korea is now outsider, right? Outsider and becoming observer and then member. So that we can use for the international IDEA. So there are many members in Asia, right? Mongolia, right? Mongolia is a member of IDEA and
India,
Indonesia,
Philippines.
Let's make two more and then become Asia 7, right?
Seven.
Yeah, democracy.
Okay, thank you. So you have your work, kind of starting with Korea, observer status first, the international idea, and then the Korean Democracy Fund. So thank you very much. You have been a lovely audience. So great to have you here. I just want to do some final thanks. Firstly, to thank the Global Democracy Coalition for the support, co-organizing it with the Secretariat being based in International Ideas. So also shout out to them, Prof. Lee and the gang at IPF. Thank you very much for your hospitality and generosity. Then, of course, last but not least, but let me know if I get it right, Yun. Let me know if I get it right. The Committee for the Memorialization of Korean Democracy, known also as a Korean Democracy Foundation. She's confused. No, but just
See you later.
but thank you and your team. Excellent work. Right up. And also, I want to thank the Asia Center team, Ms. Pachari here. And the whole program team that is online with us throughout. They've been taking notes, recording and everything. So we'll get some write-up and notes sent through the usual process. So thank you very much. You've been a great audience. This is not goodbye. We'll see you again. Reminder for those of you who would like to join the tour, 5:05, it starts at the front. I'll be with you downstairs. Yun is also here to escort you. And then at 6 at Ninjumaru, 4th floor, the same room where we worked on the first day yesterday. And you'll be very transformed and you get access to the courtyard, hopefully with a drink in your hand. Okay, so thank you and see you later. Thank you.
Let's have a group photo.
Okay, finally, over there.
Yeah.
Let's very quickly. We're still on time. We still have 15 minutes. Yeah, good time.